Hey everyone, this is Shawn here recording for Hipsters of the Coast. My column is called Ensnaring Cambridge because I'm right outside of Boston. So right now I'm gonna do a cons draft, and I had a lot of success and moreover fun trying to draft five color just about every time. So I'm interested in trying that, but I suppose we will kind of go where the signals take us. I haven't drafted a lot online. I have drafted a lot in person, so I'm actually not sure how much the fetch lands are worth online. But I suppose they're probably worth a couple of tickets. I'm just going to go ahead and highlight it while I talk about a couple other things. Bear's Companion is a card I like, but a card that I think tends to go late because of three colors. The Bloodsucker I think is a very good card. Or the Challenge is a card I've been surprised about. There's a two-color fixer in here. Like I said, I'm fine with taking the Wooded Foothills because one, it's worth tickets, and two, I mean, if we do want to end up in multiple colors, then it makes sense for us to take some sort of land fixing. Here, this pack is, honestly, it's kind of garbage. Stubborn Nile's not a card I would pick highly at all. Teamer Charger is fine, but not great. It still just pretty much trades for everything. Lamasu I think is too expensive. Aerostorm might be the best card in the pack, but I think the 5 mana spot is not really. I think it tends to be, if you want to pick up something like Aerostorm, you can. Woolly Lockstein's a card I think that really surprised me. It's like the king of the morphs. It beats pretty much every morph when flipped up, which is something I'm interested in. It's between that and the Sweetwater Cliffs. I think I'd rather just take the fixing, to be honest. The Woolly Loxodon, this may be slightly incorrect, but none of the cards in the pack were really pulling me to a certain color. So I'm fine just taking fixing. And I think when you draft 5 color, that's really what you want to do, is you want to take fixing when possible, take bombs, take morphs because they're flexible color-wise. Here's another kind of not fantastic pack. We have Incremental Growth, which is a card that I don't really love in this format. It's okay, but I feel like a lot of time you end up like putting counters on their guys. Like, it's kind of awkward. Abomination of Gudul is a card that I would play in most 5-color decks, but it would be a card that I would be looking to get on the wheel. Grizzly is fine, but unexciting. I mean, a lot of these cards kind of fit that mold. I'm thinking about taking the Jeskai Charm here. It's pseudo removal. It's like tempo. It is a Lava Axe or a Boros Charm, I suppose, when you want it to be. So, all right. Let's look at our options in this pack. We have Temur Ascendancy, which I don't think is what we want. I think it just doesn't quite do enough. You have to have a lot of guys that are 4 power or greater. This pack actually is much better than most of the other packs we've seen. So there's Winter Flame, which I like a lot because it pretty much always kills a morph. And it's, a nice tempo card too. Archer's Parapet is a card I really like. I think it tends to go kind of late, but in 05 blanks so many things and can ping away at them. Embodiment of Spring is a card that I would be okay with. Force Away is maybe one of the best cards in the pack. For me, it's between Force Away and Winter Flame, I think. I think I'm going to take the Winter Flame just because it's more solid removal. Also, another Loxodon and Parapet. Also good choices. There was a lot I would have taken out of that pack. Here, what do we like? So we're basically, like I said, I like the idea of being open and kind of doing the 5-color thing. Our fixing is blue, red, and green so far. And we have 2 blue-red cards, and this one's blue-red-white. So that's something we would at least want to consider. Here, Scaldkin is a card I'm kind of unexcited about, but it's still a flyer, and Evasion's kind of at a premium in this format. So it's a card I'd consider taking, but it also costs 4, and I think you really want to be more of a defensive deck. I'm thinking about just taking the Rugged Highlands here. Yeah, it's. I think that one's close. We already do have a red-green fixer, but we'll see. We'll see. All right. So Seek the Horizons. While I like the idea of being a 5-color deck, this card's just. I just think it's too slow. It just doesn't do enough. Here we're looking at the Dismal Backwater, or the Tranquil Cove, I guess is more likely because we have a red-blue-white card that we'd be looking to play. Glacial Stalker is a card I like. It's funny because when you first look at it, it doesn't look very good. But then you realize that when you flip it, it still beats most of the other morphs in the format. Dragon Scale Boon is fine. I think I'm just going to take the Tranquil Cove here. We're prioritizing fixing perhaps higher than we should, but I think staying open. So here I think that what we can see is that blue seems to be very open. We have Dragon Eye Savants, which I think is a fine card. We get Force Away. We get Jeskai Wind Scout, and all these cards are more than reasonable. I do like Scout the Borders. It's a card I like. We have no creatures so far. I think Force Away, I think, is probably the better pick than Jeskai Wind Scout. Part of me wants to take the Dragon Eye Savants. Jeez. Yeah. We have no creatures now, and this is definitely a problem. But I think Force Away is enough of a better card that we can kind of prioritize taking creatures a little bit later. So here, I think our two options are Glacial Stalker and Snowhorn Rider. Dragon Grip is a good card, but we have no creatures, so I need to prioritize them. We have a lot of fixing here, so that I think we could play Snowhorn Rider, and Snowhorn Rider is enough better than Glacial Stalker. It's funny because it's actually kind of close. You get one more power and trample, but the mana requirements are so much more. So, like I said, I'd be looking to pick up stuff like Glacial Stalker. Here, okay, what do we see? We see a Karu Bloodsucker, which is a card, like I said, that I like. Especially if you end up getting stuff like Archer's Parapet and Disown Ancestor, stuff like that. I'm tempted to take the Scaldkin here, even if it's not the best card for the deck. You know what? No. If we're going 5-color, we should be taking the best card, I think. Here, I think we're just going to take the Kintry Warden. It's not an exciting card, but it's a morph, and morphs are fine. Because we picked fixing pretty highly, I don't really want to take the banners. I won't keep playing maybe one banner, especially if you have a lot of 5-drops, but otherwise I'm not crazy about them. Canyon Luggers versus Scaldkin. I think I'm okay taking the Scaldkin here. It's enough better, I think. Here I think we'll take the Bloodfire Mentor. The Barrage Builders is a card I like to have in the sideboard. And I can't imagine ever playing Cranial Archive, so we'll take Tormenting Voice, even if it's not a card we would really prioritize playing either. And we'll take a Wetland Sandbar, and we will add this to our sideboard. Wetland Sandbar is actually a card that's kind of surprised me, because 2-drops are at a premium in this format. The fact that it offers to trade with so many morphs, especially the first couple turns, because most morphs, until you get to 5 mana, are going to trade or not kill your X2s. So, from 1 to 4 mana, I'm trying to think of what could get you, but I can't really. All right, so I think Necropolis Fiend is a pretty powerful card. It's definitely expensive, but I think you can kind of see that the Delve cards aren't really as expensive as you think they are. And it's, a 4/5 flyer. It's a removal spell. So there's that as an option. Like I said, I like the idea of the 5-color deck here. I mean, we're leaning towards I guess we have sort of a Jeskai E build. I would love to wheel this Parapet. Debilitating Injury, I think it might be the best black common in the set, though black I think is probably not the best color in the set. Embodiment of Spring would be fine to get back. I would love a Monastery. The 3-color fixers are so good. But I think we just take the bomb here because, you know, that's why we're doing what we're doing. So, all right. Trap Essence I think is a bit of a trap. I really like this card and I want it to be good, but it's just not what I want it to be. Here we have Arc Lightning, which I'm pretty sure is the pick. Hooting Mandrills is a card I like a lot. Mystic is good. It's a good evasive threat. None of these other cards are really, I mean, Kieran I think is a little bit underrated. The fact that it, you know, is evasive and blocks morphs is pretty cool. But I think it's just definitely Arc Lightning here. Arc Lightning's just the best card in the pack. Most of the time you just kill one creature with it, but the times when you get to kill 2 things, it's pretty awesome. Here, Feat of Resistance is a really, really good combat trick. It's not exactly what we're trying to do here, though. We're trying to kind of, you know, dirtle a little bit and have a really good end game. Sultai Scavenger is a card I like. It's kind of what I'm planning on taking here. Swift Kick sucks. Valley Dasher is not good in our deck, though it's a little bit better than I initially thought. Smite the Monsters is a reasonable removal spell, but sometimes it's dead. Scout the Borders is kind of what we want to be doing. But maybe I think we should be able to get it later. I think the Sultai Scavenger is enough of a good creature that we should take it now. Yeah. All right, what do we got here? All right, stuff I like here. I like Crippling Chill a lot. I like Embodiment of Spring. The thing about Embodiment of Spring is that it comes down early and will just block a lot of things. I see a lot of people just sacrifice it, you know, early on to get the mana, but I'm not sure how often that's right, and how often you basically block with it until they are actually going to kill it, and then you search for a land. Highland Game I think is a fine card because you do want to round up your 2-drop slot. It's possible we could just take the Scarred Barons here. We don't have any black in our fixing right now. I mean, there's a bunch of cards I would take here, but I want to take the fixing. You know, especially because we have no black fixing. I would really want to end up with like 10 non-basics. Wow. Okay, this is an interesting pack. I would play a Charger Cruise, but you can usually get those later. Smoke Teller is fine because it's a 2-drop. This is a reasonable morph. Disdainful Stroke I probably wouldn't start, but put on the side. Bloodfire Expert I think is pretty much only good in Temur decks where Ferocious is a thing, because as soon as you play the spell, he becomes Ferocious. Bondkin's a good 2-drop, but I really kind of want to take Mind Swipe here. I don't like a lot of counter magic, but I do like Mind Swipe. I think, especially later in the game, this just tend to be kind of nutty. So, yeah. Okay. I think our options here are between Parapet and the Fixer. I do want to take the Fixers, but I really want to get a Parapet in this deck. Though, I mean, at this point, we're also not heavy green. Like, we're kind of in an awkward spot. Although we have a couple green Fixers. It's pretty close. I really do like Parapet a lot in this deck. And the fact that it's a 2-drop, I think, is a important thing. Okay. Another card. The Warshrieker is a card I like a lot. Because, especially if you do really prioritize morphs, it sort of like allows you because 5-color or 4-color or whatever, the more dirtily decks tend to get a little bit behind because you're playing a bunch of tap lands, etc., etc. So I do kind of want to take the Mardu Warshrieker here. It allows us to play the Bloodsucker, Arc Lightning, Bloodfire Mentor, and any morphs that we pick up, Snowhorn. Yeah, so I think that's what I want to pick. Here, so well, I do think that removal is important, and removal is at a premium in this format. I really want my mana to be great, so I'm going to take the Bloodfell Caves here over Aerostorm, and I think that could be wrong, but that's what I'm doing. Okay, wow. So I like all three of these guys. Like I said, the Embodiment of Spring is kind of a ramp card as well as a blocker. Bloodfire Mentor I don't like as much as either Parapet or Embodiment of Spring. I want to take the Parapet here. I really want to have an early game so that we can get to the Necropolis Fiends of our deck. Here it's between Mystic and Thornwood Falls. We have 11 creatures now. We're definitely a little creature light. But we do have a reasonable number of green cards that we want to play early. I think I'm fine taking the Thornwood Falls here. Cool. And we got to Scout the Borders late. And Scout the Borders is a card I like in the more focused Sultai Delve decks. I like it a lot, but here it's good because we have the Necropolis Fiend, we have the Sultai Scavenger. It kind of fixes mana, which is important with these 5-color decks. Yeah. All right, so you pretty much never play Firehook Cavalry. Beautiful Return. I think it's so dirtily. I'm not sure if we could actually play Summit Prowler, but I'll take it. Wow. All right, both these cards I think are actually totally fine. I think I'm gonna take the Sagu Archer here. It's a morph, and it kind of goes with our Warshrieker. I really like Secret Plans in this kind of deck. Secret Plans, Trail of Mystery. I mean, obviously we weren't lucky enough to see a Trail of Mystery early, though if we saw one now, I would still play it because it's awesome. All right. What do we like here? I like Armament Core. The fact that 4/4/5 is fine, and the 2+1/+1 counters are definitely relevant. It's one of the more. It's like kind of. This seems like a reasonable reason to want to be 5-color. Is that you get stuff like Armament Core, where although it's more like you get past stuff like Armament Core. It does seem weird to have Armament Core in the same deck as a Snowhorn Rider. What do we want here? We're a little bit short on time, and I guess I wish I had a little bit more time to actually think this out. I would like a Woolly Loxodon on the stack. I'd be okay with another Snowhorn Rider, but I think we get that late. Sultai Scavenger is another card I like. I want to take the Armament Core, though. I think it's probably the most powerful card in the pack. I'm not sure if it's the best card in the pack. I'm not sure if we could maybe get one later or something. Here, there's nothing super powerful. I don't have a lot of things with reach, so I wouldn't mind a Windstorm, but I imagine we could get a little later. Longshot Squad is fine. It's a card I'm okay with. Scout the Borders, I think, would wheel. I think we just take this Citadel here. Smite the Monsters might be a consideration because of mana fixing, etc. But here I'm looking at Sultai Flare, Crippling Chill, and Loxodon, pretty much. Here, let's toss some of this stuff to the sideboard. Minesweep is really costs a lot more than that. We don't necessarily want to start the Wetland Sandbar. But these are 05s. This is a 2/5. Armament Core is a 4/4. Mentor is an 05. This is a 5/5. So I think Sultai Flare is going to be pretty good in this stack. the ability to just gain back the life is definitely relevant. I do feel bad that we continually pass Will Oxide on while I talk about it being a good card, but I think Sultai Flare is the pick here. We're gonna resort by converted mana cost. Okay, this is pretty much a morph. You pretty much always play it for 3. Mine's if you pay for more. Here, what do we like? Here, I think Glacial Stalker is fine. We would like more morphs. Student is not a card I necessarily love. Savage Punch is removal. Now we have a reasonable amount of creatures, though. We're still, aside from a couple of our more bomby guys, we still don't have Ferocious on a lot of them. It's not like we're straight teamer. We could take just another Snowhorn Rider because we kind of know that we want to play them. I mean, we're on track on mana fixing. We have 8 mana fixers. Geez. Could take an attendance. I don't know. I'm going to take the Snowhorn Rider here. It's close. I think here, I definitely think Crippling Chill is a really good card. It's a card I do like a lot, but I'm fine just hiding behind all these parapets. This seems kind of fine to me. Yeah. I mean, we're just the problem with Crippling Chill is that it's awesome. It replaces itself. It slows them down, but it does feel like it's a more tempo-y card, and we're just not a tempo deck. So we'll take another parapet. It's possible that I'm picking parapet a little bit higher than other people do, and that's fine. It doesn't. Here we're looking at Aerialists, Abomination of Gadul, Longshot Squad's fine. I think it's between those. I think I'm okay with taking another kind of finisher card in the Riverwheel Aerialists. A 4/5 flyer, even without prowess, is insane in this format, and with prowess, you just get that little extra. I wonder how often it's relevant. I think pretty much the only time it would be is when you have the 0/5 wall blocking it. Here, it's between Krumar Bondkin and Sagu Archer, I think. Because we're more of a defensive deck, I'm leaning towards taking the Sagu Archer. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about our deck. It's definitely not insane by any stretch. I mean, the thing about being 5-color is that you get to pick all the bomby cards that other people will sometimes pass you because they're not in those colors. But here, I don't know. There could be another 5-color drafter at the table. I'm not really sure. It seems like we could have had a reasonably aggressive like Jeskai deck. But even then, it's funny because I usually see Free Weapon Master, I think that's the card's name, go pretty late. And I don't think I saw any of them here. So, not sure what's going on. I'm not sure. This is one of the problems with Magic Online, is that I'm not really sure if it froze or not. Okay. All right. So here, it's between Monastery Flock and Shambling Attendants, I think. I think we just want to take the Monastery Flock. We don't have a lot of ways to... and we have the Sagu Archers who have reach, but otherwise we're a little bit weak to flyers. Shambling Attendants I like, but we have a Sultai Scavenger, a Necropolis Fiend. There's no dual lands for us to take, so I think that's just the pick. All right. We got a Snowhorn Rider, which I think is what we'll take here. Snowhorn Riders tend to go... They've gotten definitely pretty late this game. Here, I think we're just going to take the Windstorm. Like I said, we're a little bit soft flyers, and I think it's a really good sideboard card. We pretty much, I mean, Monastery Flock has flying. Scaldkin, if we play it, River Aerialist is flying. But we're more of like a ground, kind of a ground pounder type deck. And the hope is that we have enough kind of walls to hold them back while we get to a more powerful end game. Like I said, though, I'm not that stoked on our end game. The last couple times I drafted this, last time I got Craterous Claws and a Villainous Wealth, and I think that's a really powerful end game. I'm not really sure if we play 2 Scout the Borders. It's possible. I mean, this is not really the Leaping Master kind of deck. I think we might be a little soft to the Leaping Master kind of deck, like a really aggressive deck. But we'll see. We'll take the Scout the Borders. I just picked something, unfortunately. I'm not sure. I didn't even see what was in that pack. 8 lands is not as many as I had hoped for. I guess really just this whole thing is it's not... I'm just not stoked on it. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure how we're going to fare against more focused decks. But we'll see. That's why we're doing this, right? I'm trying to think of what colors I should have been in if I was not committed to 5 color, and I was just kind of taking whatever. And I'm actually not sure. Like I said, it seemed like Jeskai was reasonably open. Maybe Temur was more open. I didn't see a lot of the late Sultai cards. I mean, it's possible that I am used to drafting at my local game store, and that this is not how more experienced drafters play. But also, we're in a 4-3-2-2, so it's possible that most of my opponents are not super skilled either. So that's something to consider. Particular lands, I'm just going to put them up here for now. This is definitely an 18 lands deck. So we want to get this down to 22 cards. Go ahead and move this down. Here, I'll kind of mind swipe this down here. Jeskai Charm, Flame, Scout the Borders, Arc Lightning, Weave Fate. I don't know if we're actually going to play that. Alright. I convert mana cost. Okay. And then, I mean, when you kind of fix the morphs, our deck looks a little bit more like this. Kintry Warden, I think, is it's not a morph I like a lot. It just doesn't, the Drudge Skeleton is just kind of far from being a good card. It seems like we're very light on white. We have a Tranquil Cove, a Scoured Barrens, and a Sandstep Citadel for white cards, for white mana fixing. So I think we're fine to play this Armament Core, but I do wonder about this Jeskai Charm. I don't know. We'll go back to that. We're going to cut 1 Scout the Borders. I like playing 1, but I think having more than that is not really where you want to be. Weave Fate, not either. I think we want to cut some amount. Okay, so our high end, are these guys. Summit Prowler doesn't really fit into what we're trying to do with this deck. Mindset, actually costs a lot more. So we're gonna cut 2 more cards. And the problem is, you see this glut at the 3-drop slot, and it makes me feel like I should cut something, but most of these guys are pretty good. Yeah, what do we want to do here? We want the Bloodsucker. I think our deck just has so many, X4s and bigger that like this is almost like an alternate win condition. It's possible we want to cut like a Bloodfire Mentor. I'm not sure. It's a little less powerful than we already have 3 Parapets, and most of these guys can attack, unlike the Bloodfire Mentor, which is pretty much, though it doesn't have Defender, it's basically a Defender. Card quality I think is important, but I'm not sure it's that important. Part of me wants to cut the Jeskai Charm here because I feel like we have 3 white fixers and we're just not that invested in white. But I don't know, a modal card that's removal just seems like kind of what we want to be doing. So we're going to cut one more card because, like I said, in this format, it's so mana intensive. I think you really want to be on 18 lands all the time. We cut a Snowhorn, a Sagu Archer. Skuldkin, unlike the rest of our deck, is like, our deck is like mostly like pretty like defensive. Sky doesn't block super well, but the fact that it's like a suitor removal spell and does have evasion makes me not want to cut it, where I otherwise would be more willing to. So that Flare just goes really well in this deck, which is cool. We just have so many guys with more than 4 toughness. We cut one of these cards. We could cut the Scout the Borders. I don't think we want to, though. Even with just the 2 Delve cards. Force Away is not great in our deck, but still, any kind of tempo card is where we want to be. I'm trying to cut this Monastery Flock. Maybe a Snowhorn Rider? I'm not sure. Maybe I'll cut an Archer. I think I want to cut a Sagu Archer. Yeah. Alright. And then put all our lands back in. We'll sort by color. Alright. Yeah, so our white needs are very small. It's just Jeskai Charm and Armament Core. We have 1, 2, 3 ways of generating white, plus like a Scout the Borders for potentially more. I don't really want to play any additional white sources. I don't think that's super necessary. Our next biggest commitment, I think, is to green. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 green lands, and we definitely want more than that. We need to add 10 lands total, and I think like 4 of them should be green. We have all the Parapets early. Add basics. All right. Let's see what they suggest. All right. Well, we already decided we're not going to play at Plains. Just not going to happen. All right. How many black lands do we have? 1, 2, 3. We have 3. And we really want to make sure we play Necropolis Fiend. 3 seems right here. I think I want 4 here. Red. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a bunch of red cards, but 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and then blue cards. Blue fixers. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. This is tough. All right, I think maybe we can get away with 2 swamps. Snowhorn. because we have 3 Snowhorns and like it feels like we're mostly a teamer deck. I feel like we need to have the most ways to produce red, green, and blue. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this is 11, and we want to cut one more land. I guess I could go 3 fourths. This gets 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 ways to add green. Ugh, it just doesn't seem right. I could just play 41 cards. I'm not sure logistically when that's correct. All right, we're going to cut it to 3. All right, let's try that. There's 18 lands, there's 16 creatures, 6 other spells. All right. So I'll see you guys for round 1. It should be pretty soon. We only have 55 seconds left of deck creation.